What kind of tile can you put on the wall or shower? Do you have to seal tile? How much extra tile should I buy for my project? What thin set is the best for my tile application? How hard is it to maintain natural stone? You have questions, we have answers. Welcome to the BELK Tile Podcast. How to style the bathroom, the backyard, the kitchen. How to improve your home style with tiles to make your home absolutely beautiful. Welcome to the BELK Tile Podcast. Here's your host, Mike Belk.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the BELK Tile Podcast. I'm Mike, and Abby.
Good morning, all.
This is one of those episodes. I've been waiting for it. We're talking all about the mysterious hollow sound, that weird thud you sometimes get when you walk over tile. It kind of makes your heart sink, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And if you've never experienced it, consider yourself lucky. But once you've heard that hollow echo underfoot, it's like every step you take, you start imagining busted tiles, water damage, the whole 9 yards. But before we get into full panic mode, Mike, can you break down what's actually happening under that tile?
Yeah, so when we say a tile sounds hollow, what we're really talking about is a gap or void between the tile and what's beneath it, the substrate. Basically, the adhesive didn't get full coverage when the tile was set, so there's an air pocket. It might be from the installer missing a spot, not pressing the tile down enough, or maybe the surface wasn't prepped right to begin with. And, I always tell people that hollow sound, it's a warning sign. Not every hollow tile is doomed, but it's not something you want to ignore.
Right, and the risks aren't just about annoying sounds. If there's a void, there's not enough support. Over time, that movement stresses the tile, the grout, even the subfloor in some cases. You can end up with cracked tiles or shifting grout, or, worst case, the tiles pop up entirely. That hollow sound is your house giving you a nudge, like, hey, check under here.
Totally. And speaking of being nudged, I'll never forget the first time a client called me in a near panic. She just remodeled, and about 2 weeks after, she said, Mike, I keep hearing this weird hollow sound in the kitchen. Is my floor falling apart? Turns out it was just one tile that wasn't fully bonded, but it got her, and honestly me, nervous about what could go wrong if we hadn't caught it.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just about peace of mind, right? If you let it go, it can absolutely become a bigger structural issue. So let's talk about how people even end up with hollow tiles in the first place, because honestly, so much of this is avoidable if you know what to look for. So one major cause, skipping back buttering, which, Mike, you probably see way too often. Basically, installers get in a rush and just slather mortar on the floor, stick the tile down, and walk away. With bigger tiles, especially if you don't coat the back fully, you're almost guaranteed to have hollow spots later.
You're not wrong, and even beyond back buttering, I've seen poor mortar coverage in general, like you pull a hollow tile and only the corners have adhesive. Sometimes it's the wrong trowel size, sometimes it's just rushing. Then you've got folks laying tile over dusty, uneven concrete or a subfloor that moves every time you step on it. That's asking for trouble from the get-go.
Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't even have to be a bad installer. Sometimes it's just not prepping the surface fully or skipping waterproof membranes in like bathrooms or basements. And other times it's using the wrong adhesive for the tile or the conditions. Porcelain's heavy, right? It needs a specific bond. Or in a really humid space, you might need a more moisture-resistant mortar. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for separation down the road.
And sometimes the building itself is the problem. All buildings move, settle, expand, especially with temperature swings. If there aren't proper movement joints left, you'll see not just hollow tiles, but popped tiles, tenting, whole sections coming up.
So if you're worried you might have hollow tiles, here's the easiest DIY check, the tap test. Grab the handle of a screwdriver or just a coin and gently tap across the tile surface. Solid tiles sound nice and dull, but a hollow one kind of echoes, almost like you're tapping on a drum.
Yeah, and if you're the kind to go above and beyond, there are other ways. Thermal imaging can sometimes pick up voids under floors, though that's kind of overkill for most people. Sometimes it's just looking for clues like, is the grout cracking or do you see the edges starting to lift? Those are big red flags.
And I gotta bring up that viral Reddit post I saw last week. Homeowner noticed a few grout cracks, started tapping, and ended up realizing half his kitchen floor sounded hollow. I felt for him. They basically had to decide whether to rip everything out or try to patch it. As a designer, that's the conversation we have to have with clients. Is this a localized issue or is it all over? Because the repair path totally changes depending on that call.
Yeah, and people get defensive. Nobody wants to think their brand new floor is at risk. But the sooner you diagnose these hollow spots, the more options you have. Leaving them just gives time for problems to grow. So let's say you've found some hollow tiles. Don't panic yet. For small areas, the best fix is often drilling a tiny hole in the grout and injecting adhesive or epoxy underneath. It's not magic, but it works if just a few tiles are affected and haven't lifted or cracked yet. But Abby, you know as well as I do, this isn't always the answer.
Nope. As much as clients wish otherwise, if the problem's widespread like that Reddit guy, sometimes you just have to pull the tiles, fix the substrate, and redo it the right way. And for anyone doing a new install, prep is everything. Clean, level substrate, back buttering those tiles, especially the big ones, using the right mortar and applying it evenly, and if it's a high moisture spot, waterproof membranes and uncoupling layers are worth every penny.
Exactly. Prevention saves so much money and hassle. I remember this one time at BELK Tile, a customer called us because her floor sounded hollow whenever she walked by the fridge. Turned out a section had barely any mortar. We pulled up a couple tiles to check, and it let us fix the problem early, before the homeowner started seeing cracks, or worse, having to replace 2 rooms worth of tile. That initial warning signal actually saved her whole kitchen from disaster.
And even for small repairs, it's not just about sticking a new tile down. Make sure the surface underneath is solid, dry, and dust-free before you touch a thing. And don't skip on using the right mortar or adhesive. If you're not sure, ask a pro. It drives me nuts seeing gorgeous, expensive tiles stuck down with bargain bin glue. Or worse, mastic where thin set was actually needed. That's just a recipe for doing the job twice.
Yeah, cheaping out on adhesives or skipping steps is one shortcut that's never worth it. And if you're dealing with moisture issues, say a basement or bathroom, you need to address that before fixing the tiles. Otherwise, you're just putting a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. If you're in doubt, get a pro in to look for the source, because even a perfect repair fails if you miss the root cause.
Now, even after you've fixed a hollow tile, you have to stay vigilant. This is where regular maintenance really pays off. I always tell folks, walk your floors, listen for changes. If you notice new hollow sounds, tiny grout cracks, or even a little lifting, don't ignore it. That's your cue that something's shifting below the surface.
And if your home has seen some settling, maybe you've noticed new cracks in the walls or doors sticking, maybe it's worth getting a pro to inspect the tiles as well. Especially after big renovations, structural shifts, or even heavy storms, a professional can spot things you might miss. Sometimes those issues build so gradually you get used to the new normal until it's too late.
Exactly. And beyond the freak-out moments, there's the day-to-day. Keep tiles clean, stick to gentle pH-neutral cleaners, and inspect grout and corners regularly. It's such a simple habit, but it helps spot trouble before it costs you. Like we talked about in the shower floor episode, noticing a loose tile early is always easier and cheaper than waiting for water to sneak underneath and create chaos.
Prevention really is the name of the game in tile, isn't it? It doesn't have to be an ordeal. If you listen to your floors and keep up with basic care, you're cutting off most issues before they ever happen. A squeak, a hollow tap, a little grime, none of them are scary if you deal with them early.
Absolutely. And if you start hearing those weird sounds or seeing new cracks, don't hesitate. A little extra vigilance each year goes a long, long way. So before you grab a chisel or call up your neighbor's handyman, take a minute to assess how big is the hollow area. If you're not sure, or if more than a few tiles are affected, bring in a tile pro. It's always better to get an expert's eyes on it so you're not sticking another Band-Aid on a bigger wound.
Yeah, and when it comes to materials, don't just grab whatever's at the hardware store. Epoxy injections are great for filling small voids. Just make sure it's compatible with your tile and substrate. If you've got to rebond or replace a tile, specialized mortars or thin sets can make all the difference. You want long-term strength, not just a quick patch.
And if you've got movement in the floor or see cracks spreading, you have to address those structural problems too. Otherwise, those hollow tiles will just keep coming back. Sometimes it's about fixing the root, like reinforcing a joist, leveling a subfloor, or adding movement joints, so your repairs actually last. Think big picture, not just the quick fix.
Completely agree. It's all about a comprehensive plan. Even if it means biting the bullet for a more involved repair, it sets you up for decades of worry-free tile. Address those underlying issues, use the right adhesive, and your floors will thank you.
Well, that about wraps it for today's hollow tile saga. If your tiles start talking back when you walk across them, don't just cross your fingers, tap test, and take action. Anything else before we call it a wrap, Mike?
Just remember, folks, a hollow sound isn't the end of the world, but it's not something to ignore either. Take care of your floors, and they'll take care of you. We'll be back soon with another episode, maybe diving deeper into repair methods or the next big tile trend. Abby, thanks for keeping it real, as always.
Always a pleasure, Mike. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and don't be shy. Send us your hollow tile stories or questions for future episodes. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the BELK Tile Podcast. When it comes to creating a beautiful home using tile, this is the podcast for products, design ideas, and tips. We hope you got some useful, practical information from this show, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, reach out. The website is www.belktile.com. Our store phone number is 614-543-8334. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BELK Tile and on Instagram at BELK Tiles. Make sure to leave a rating and review. And if you have questions or comments, reach out. And we'll talk about it on the next show. Till next time.